Nothing endures without harmony. And harmony only endures through us. We are unmoving like the mountain. We will not be drowned by the raging river. Behold the wonders of the Celestial Dragon Empire. The might of our warriors. The secrets of our alchemists. The sorcery of the dragon-blooded. Vanquish chaos with the sheer power of the dragon. Let them face the majesty of Grand Cathay.
Well, that was pretty cool, wasn't it? Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with some more Total War Warhammer 3 news. Creative Assembly have just dropped the Enter the World of Cathay trailer video, and as usual I've been given access a little earlier, same as some of my peers. Now there's a lot to discuss in this video, so we're going to have a bit of a deep dive and go through the trailer bit by bit. Same as usual, so let's not waste any more time and jump right in. Okay, we can already stop here, and what we're seeing is a siege map, but this is more in line of those that we've normally seen in Warhammer 2. Before anyone says anything, I don't think this is an actual siege battle. In fact, it looks to me to be a Sally Forth type of battle, which I hope this is the case. One of the biggest issues that Warhammer 2 has is that when you sally out, you don't actually get to see the city anymore. In fact, you just fight in some random field, almost like you've never sallied forth from a settlement at all. Now, this is also still the same location that we saw the trailer, so this is, I'm assuming, either somewhere in the Warpstone Desert or further north leading eventually to the Chaos Wastes. I'm not too sure because obviously this is a barren dry land in the right hand side. The specifics themselves aren't really too clear. What is certain is it looks like this is attached to the Grand Bastion, so these might be special battle maps that we might see there, where we should not see this as representative of any siege rework. They wouldn't be hyping this up only to give us the same thing, so we're just gonna have to wait and see for that. Either way, the town looks pretty, and there's a lot to discuss in this trailer, so let's move on.
Nothing endures without harmony. And harmony only endures.
Alright, this does kind of look like it's a Sally Forth, and if that's the case, that's pretty cool. Unless this is a standard defense of the part of the wall, and it's just to show that the AI will be able to move out to do damage too, which also works for me, because, you know, the AI just kind of sits there and just waits for you to pelt it. Whatever this may really be, as we still need confirmation from the developers and so on, it does look promising, so yeah, this is great so far. Let's keep moving.
Through us.
I'm not sure if this is the Spearman bracing naturally, or if this is some sort of ability, as it kind of makes sense for formations to come back. Many people have been asking for it. And obviously a brace like that would be a formation. It kind of makes sense, especially for Cathay, which is supposed to be this highly disciplined army. So who knows? We're gonna have to wait and see, but it kind of looks like it, because the enemy does look kind of far.
Are unmoving like them.
And it looks like my theory is correct, where the pink horrors seem to be a ranged unit, which works out really well, as you have to keep in mind that every implementation of any Warhammer game has always kind of put them as a ranged unit, and that's going to be quite good for Tzeentch. Some range might do good. I wonder how much damage this is actually going to do.
Mountain.
Now, the first time I saw this trailer, I was blown away by this specific scene. I don't know exactly what's happening here. We have a spellcaster casting a defensive spell. Like, this is really, really big. So far, we don't really have any defensive style spells, and that's amazing. Maybe it's going to be the fact that the law of yin and yang, one's going to be offensive and one's going to be defensive. Like, this is really, really cool, because if you're able to stop projectiles with that, I wonder how this is going to work. Spellcasters generally have to wait a few seconds to get a spell off. The AI is always a bit weird when it comes to this, but maybe it's just going to be a character that's focused around defensive acting? It's honestly very curious, but it's really welcome. If we end up getting defensive spells, that's going to change up the gameplay a lot, especially for multiplayer. That's going to be absolutely incredible.
Will not be drowned by the raging river.
Same thing for here mentioning formations, because it's not very common for a crossbowman to crouch, is it? It looks like it's doing this to be able to get better accuracy, which in turn might be a formation. I might just be completely wrong here, but I don't think I've seen any of the crossbowmen just crouch to fire.
Behold the wonders of the celestial dragon empire.
Right, this is something I've always been very confused about. So obviously prior to this he was in dragon form, and now he's in his human form. So the question is, are we going to be able to transform as we wish, or is there going to be a certain amount of times that we can transform per battle in the form of a bounce spell in a sense? It's very curious. I'm not too sure how that's going to work itself. And this is some new form of transformation, not like what we've seen with Malice and Zarkan, as Malice transforms into Zarkan as a new character. This is the same character. So the question is there for balancing. Will he have more health as a dragon than he will as a human? Will he be better as a human than he will as a dragon for spellcasting? It raises a lot of questions. I hope the transformations aren't limited, so you can kind of use him as and when, and it depends on what you need to use him for. Maybe with a cooldown or a casting time or something would kind of fit.
The might of our warrior.
Is it me, or it just looks like Cathay and Armies are going to be absolutely massive? I mean, this is a second force. The first was coming out of the city. Now this one's charging to meet the chaos from behind. It's a lot of variety, that's for sure. And we are, of course, seeing stuff that we haven't seen before. Like, for example, at the very middle of the screen, we've got those, what I'm assuming to be is those peasants with halberds. We aren't getting a real good look at this stuff, but I'm assuming that a roster reveal will come soon enough. However, it does look like Cathay does have a lot of different things, mostly variants of units, which of course makes sense because then a human can be able to pick up a sword, a great weapon or whatever. I do hope that we get some great weapons though. I don't think that we've seen any so far for this roster, which would be a shame because they are quite nice units.
The secrets of our alchemists.
Honestly, this looks super cool, and I'm not sure if this is a spell or not, because it looks very situational, like it only points in certain directions and so on. It could be that this is a generic attack animation for this specific character. You know, instead of whirling around with a sword, it kind of acts as a spell, which is the generic attack. No winds of magic cost or anything. It kind of makes sense for Cathay, but we're going to have to wait and see. If it is a spell, I'm imagining that this would be better when you're in the middle of a bulk of units, because obviously this seems to poke out in different directions, which is still incredibly useful. I'm just hoping that the character itself isn't too squishy, because that means that you're going to want the character inside the thick of it.
The sorcery of the dragon-blooded.
Alright, I don't know what this is, but this is super cool. Maybe this is better used on single entities like characters or monsters or something. It picks them up and smashes them on the floor or something. I mean, it is awesome. It's something very visually different, that's for sure. Unless this is also one of these things that can be used against a horde of units. Because it's like a little tornado thing. You just plop it in the middle. It's like a mini vortex. Does that make sense? I don't know, I'm just going by it visually, and it is curious. That is the only thing I can say about this. It's really different. One thing's for certain, it looks like Cathay and magic is going to be really interesting to use. Mind you, we've still not seen the Chaos Laws of magic at work, barring just one spell used by Kairos in the previous trailer. So, who knows, maybe magic's just going to get this massive overhaul to make it look like really cool.
Vanquish chaos with the sheer power of the dragon!
Sync animations are cool. I wonder if this is actually going to transfer into game, or this is just part of this cinematic, but it would be cool if you've got both lords together and they'll be able to sync up like that because, yeah, I mean, it's visually impressive. Again, this makes me wonder how many times they can transform or not, and the balancing for dragons is very curious. Hopefully Creative Assembly can shed some light regarding this, because honestly I'm just trying to figure out how this can be balanced. Then again, Creative Assembly and balancing can have a little bit of an issue sometimes, so we're gonna have to wait and see.
Let them face the majesty of Grand Cathay!
Okay, so this is like, what, 2 Cathayan armies and 1 Tzeentchian army? The units must be on like large or ultra scale, because look at how many there are in like each specific unit. This is absolutely massive. We can't really get a good look at anything, which is possibly a good thing. Remember that obviously this has obviously been in production prior to everyone complaining about the Tzeentchian Chaos Warriors looking the same as anything else and so on. But it does look like the maps are substantially larger, at least. Does it? I mean, this is a large area here, and we can see, what, 3 armies? So this is really, really cool. I'm really hoping that we get more big-scale battles, as those were always really, really fun in the Total War series, and we need more spectacle, especially for Warhammer, you know? Like, it depends on how the engine runs, but I think something like this is more than doable. I must say I did like this trailer more than the original one, as you're able to see units much closer and see them in action. This is actually really impressive. Grand Cathay is showing a lot of promise, and I'm actually really excited to play this. I'm more obviously waiting for Slaanesh and Nurgle, but Cathay looks really, really fun. Though with all that being said, there's some few questions that we obviously have to leave in the open air, so I'm just going to reiterate some of them, so maybe a developer in the future can answer them? Who knows? Keep in mind that obviously I don't think that the Creative Assembly developers are willing to give too much information regarding gameplay right now, but hey, it's better to leave stuff in the open to hopefully get a response. Many of you guys will take the questions into the forums and hopefully we'll get something, but I very much doubt it at this point in time, though maybe they'll do a gameplay Q&A in the future. Is this sallying forth? Will the AI now be able to do that, and will we get the function when we sally forth from a settlement into a sieging army? As obviously something like this is extremely thematic and has been missed throughout the Warhammer series for over 5 years now. This one's an important question. Is this defensive magic, and if so, how is that going to work? Defensive magic didn't really exist in the Warhammer Fantasy tabletop. It did, but it was mostly buffs and so on, whereas this seems to actively stop projectiles coming to you. Will it take time to cast? Will it just be instant? It's one of these things which is really confusing, and how can it be used? Is it going to cost a lot of winds of magic? It's just one of these things that's really, really curious to me, as, again, this is new. This is completely new. We did have stuff in the tabletop, like, for example, Howling Warp Gale, which was a map-wide thing, and it made the enemy less accurate, but this is actively stopping a projectile, which is why I'm super confused. Are these spells, or just a generic spellcasting lord or hero type of fighting animation to give them a bit more of a different visual feel? Rather than having a spellcaster fighting with, say, for example, a sword or a weapon of any type, they'll be casting spells which does not cost any winds of magic, just animation-wise. And most importantly, dragon balancing. How is that going to work, especially with transformation, unless even in their human form they'll have massive health pools, which would be a bit overpowered. Can we freely transform? Is there going to be a cap on how many times you can do so? It's just one of these things which is very, very strange. Obviously, everything I've pretty much asked is in terms of balancing, but some stuff is lore, I guess, with the whole defensive spells. We're going to have to wait and see how this works. I really hope we don't have to wait too long for these answers, as these are big questions. These are very, very big questions. Either way, I'll have the trailer playing on once again if you want to see it in its entirety, but do let me know what you guys think in the comments below, as there is a lot to discuss.
Nothing endures without harmony. And harmony only endures through us. We are unmoving like the mountain. We will not be drowned by the raging river. Behold the wonders of the celestial celestial dragon empire. The might of our warriors. The secrets of our alchemists. The sorcery of the dragon-blooded. Vanquish chaos with the sheer power of the dragon. Let them face the majesty of Grand Cathay.
But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.